Hey guys, so welcome to week 3. Let me know how you are doing, and I need to know what your numbers are and how are your measurements. Are you finding that your inches are starting to release in 3 weeks? You should be past your detox period as far as getting rid of the crud out of your diet, and sometimes you have that detox flu where you're just feeling really, really bad, and you should really be starting to feel better now. Um, Now, today's topic is we're going to be talking about meal prepping, and I seriously feel like meal prepping is going to be a huge key to your success. I know a lot of us, we hate cooking. I used to love it, and now the busier I get, I'm like, oh, it's just one more thing I have to do. But I find that when I meal prep, I do much better. Not only do I do much better with my choices, but it ends up being cheaper on our family budget. With the family of 5, mealtime can get expensive around here. Um, and then there's just so many extra health benefits that we can do when we start meal prepping. So basically, meal prepping is that's just going to be preparing your foods or your portions ahead of time. These are foods that can be stored in the refrigerator or the freezer or glass, plastic containers, Ziploc bags, any of those things, anything that's going to make your life a little bit easier. Okay. And right now in life, we need easier. Okay. But this, in the long term, is going to save you time. Why is it going to save you time? Because you're not having to pull out every little thing in your refrigerator for meal prep every single time. So basically, we can prep just a few things ahead of time, and then we can have our grab and go options. Okay. It is going to save you money because you're going to do a lot better if you do grocery store shopping at one time versus having to go 5 extra times in a week to go pick up one of these things and one of these items, okay? The best part about it is maybe you do get your kitchen a little dirty, but there's only one cleanup time, okay? So think about that. And it's going to help to alleviate your temptations because when you are in a rush, that is typically when you are making your worst choices, right? So if we have those good choices ahead of time, we're going to do better. All right. So who in your household needs to be doing the meal prepping? I say let the whole family do it. You know, if you have kids that need to pack their bags for lunch or whatever, there's simple things that they can do. Whether it just means, grabbing some oranges and some apples and putting it in their little lunch bag or whatever it may be, but they can do that. I don't know about some of the moms out there, but sometimes there's just so many decisions to make that making the decision of what's for dinner tonight can be just like one more thing you're having to think about. So maybe getting the kids and your spouse together and saying, all right, guys, what are your favorites? And then taking your favorites and making healthier options with it. I have been on this lifestyle journey with my foods for right at 10 years now. And there's not many things that I personally miss anymore because I have learned to tweak. Okay. So I will take one recipe, I will make a few tweaks to it, and I will make it a healthier version. Now, I know some of you are eating meals where you feel like you're on one plan and your family's on another plan, and that makes it difficult. And that's why I always say if you'll stick to a protein, whether that be, chicken or hamburger or fish or whatever it may be, whatever your protein is, and then you can find 2 vegetables to go with it. Now, all of my family members are not necessarily on this plan, okay? So I may make a third side item. Maybe it's macaroni and cheese. The kids like macaroni and cheese. Am I going to eat it? No, I'm not. But I can make a meal for all of us where it's basically a protein, 2 vegetables, and then I'll make some macaroni and cheese, and they can have that. I still have a good option here, okay? So you don't feel like you're having to cook a whole different meal for your entire family, but literally it's just one extra side. And if there's leftovers, bonus, they can have it tomorrow night too, okay? So get your family involved. I think that's going to be a big deal. I do find that people who do programs together for that support and that accountability, things work out better. So if you have a buddy that's doing the program with you, split your meal. Say, hey, I'm going to make this meal and you're going to make all these meals. And then we're going to like divide and conquer. And that way we're not eating the whole thing, whole meals all the time. Then that is a big deal. Okay. When should you do your food prep? Whenever you have time, okay? Everybody's schedule is going to be different, so you need to find the time that's actually the best for you. There are certain tools with meal prepping that I do like. I do like crock pots. I love the Ninja, the Ninja air fryer, which is actually combined. It's got a crock pot, an air fryer, a pressure cooker. It's like everything combined. So I really do like that. So if you're looking for one, that's the one I personally recommend. I use it all the time. My family uses it all the time. Things like food processors, that is definitely a time saver for me, whether it's chopping up, vegetables or taking flour, and combining that and using it as a mixing bowl. Like I use my food processor for everything. I also use gallon size freezer bags, and I always want to make sure I have a Sharpie because I don't care what you think you're going to remember. But when you put something in that freezer bag to stick it in the freezer for long term, it for some reason 3 months down the road, it doesn't look like what it did today. So I always wanna make sure that I write what I have on my freezer bag, and I put the date on there too, okay? So you want to make sure you've got that. I do like to have different, sizes of measuring cups. I can use that for portion control. And a lot of times I'll even put them in my containers. Like if I have a container of my Pure Nourish shakes or whatever, I'll put in a 1/4 cup measuring cup in there. And that way it's just easy measuring. We're just ready to go. Okay. You really shouldn't be spending more than 1 or 2 hours a week for your prep work. It's really not necessary to do any more than that, and I find that, even if I have, like, 15 minutes here to work on something, whether it's just chopping up my vegetables or whatever, I've got 15 minutes of spare time, I'm gonna use this wisely, and I'm going to help with my prepping there. There is a to-do list that you need to do. Like, if you have a crazy calendar, you do wanna check your calendar, okay? What do you have going on this week? Is there a possibility that you can like double your portions and have leftovers one night? Or take a look at your pantry and your refrigerator. What do you have in there that you need to use up? I do not like to waste food. Okay. Again, I got a family of 5. Groceries are expensive no matter what you're cooking. Whether it be healthy or unhealthy, it's going to be expensive regardless. There are foods, or favorite recipes that you can do in your cookbooks. And I personally, I stick with recipes that are probably 5 ingredients or less because I want it simplified. Okay. I feel like the simpler my life is, the simpler I can have a good lifestyle as far as my foods, my ingredients, and everything else, the more likely I am to follow the lifestyle. Okay. Making a grocery list and then head to the store. Now, my recommendation is don't go to the grocery store when you're hungry because that's when you start picking up whoever, whatever, whenever. Okay. And that's when you make bad choices. So if you go to the grocery store, make sure that you're not hungry. That way you don't have any of these crazy temptations and then head on to the store. And you will always do better if you are actually shopping the perimeter of the grocery store. Now, once you get home from the grocery store, you want to sort your foods on the counter into like a make now or make later. Okay. So I will always take my foods, wash them. I like to, like, if all my vegetables and my fruits and everything, I will just put them in a large bowl and I will put some white vinegar and some water in there. And they have found that that kills about 98% of the bacteria and removes pesticides. So again, you're getting a healthier lifestyle on there. So if you want the measurements on that, all you need to do is fill a bowl with water and just add 1/8 of a cup to 1/2 a cup of vinegar, depending on the size of your bowl. Or you can even put it in your clean sink. Don't put it in your dirty sink, but put it in your clean sink and just let them soak for about 15-20 minutes, rinse them off. And then I put a clean towel out on my counter and I'll let them air dry for about 15-20 minutes there. And then from there, I can go ahead and cut them up, and I have found many a times that if I go ahead and cut up my vegetables and put them in a gallon freezer bag, that I am more likely to grab and go and use them. Otherwise, with great intentions, I may have that zucchini and I'm like, okay, I'm going to use that tonight. Oh, now I don't have time. So I push it back into the refrigerator a little bit more. The next day, I want to have that zucchini, but I don't have time to cut it up. So I push it a little bit further down through the refrigerator. And about 2 weeks from now, I pull out this thing and I'm like, what is that? And it's this zucchini and it's starting to grow mold all over it. Okay. So when I have my vegetables already cut up and ready to go, that's my grab and go. And that is one of the best things you can do to make sure that you are getting your fiber in, making sure that you're getting your vegetables in. Um, as far as your proteins are concerned, you want to you could do like do a head chicken, okay? So you can grill chicken, you can bake chicken, you can cook chicken in your slow cooker. Most resources will tell you that cooked meat will last 3 to 4 days in the refrigerator. After that, if you have not used it in that 3 to 4 days, you do want to put it in the freezer. If I'm cooking a chicken, I will go ahead and put some water in there. I'll add some spices to it. You can even add some vegetables to it, and that will make your own chicken broth. And so that would be a money saver for you. You can have shredded chicken in just seconds. So if you have chicken breast or boneless chicken thighs, anything like that, you can go ahead and cook those. And maybe you want shredded chicken for a recipe, or maybe you're doing a chicken salad. You can actually put that chicken in a bowl. And if you will put your little mixer in the bowl, instead of trying to shred all this chicken with a fork, which takes forever, you can literally take your little mixer and you can go "Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh," you know what I'm saying? And when that happens, it's going to shred your chicken almost instantly. Okay, so that's going to be a quick time saver. And then when I have my shredded chicken, I will typically go ahead and measure that out in like 3 cup intervals. I'll put it in a sandwich bag, and then I know for any recipe that I'm doing for a family of 5, I'm probably gonna use about 3 cups of chicken, and from there, I'll get all the air out of it, and then I will stack several bags, sandwich bags, into 1-gallon freezer bag, and when I'm freezing it, I want to freeze it flat because it's gonna thaw out quicker that way. So that's one of some of my time savers with the chicken. If you're cooking your meat in bulk, you can put it in a slow cooker. I don't like it that much in the slow cooker. I think it cooks better on the stove top or whatever. And then you can add spices, you can add onion, garlic, and pink sea salt, pepper, any of those things as it's cooking. Let it cool off, and then you can freeze it. And again, I do the same thing. I take about 3 cups, I put it in a sandwich bag, and then I put all my little sandwich bags into 1-gallon freezer bag. Okay. Do make sure that you cool all of these portions down before you put them in the freezer bags. Okay. And don't forget to label the bags. That's going to be very important. Um, there's things that you can do as far as your snacks, okay? So, or in your breakfast and everything else. So, but make a list of the foods that you eat. Like you've got your breakfast, you got your lunch, you got your dinner, your snacks, your desserts. Make it as simple as possible. That's going to be a big one, okay? But let's talk about your breakfast choices. Boiled eggs, very easy to make those ahead of time. You can eat that for breakfast. You can have that as a snack. There's going to be about 6 grams of protein per egg in there. So again, you're trying to get that 100 grams of protein daily. That's a great source to be able to do it. Um, Mini frittatas. You can make those in a muffin tin. So you can chop up your vegetables, your herbs, spices, add that to the eggs, cook it in the oven and freeze it. Okay. So now when you need a to-go thing, all of a sudden, you can literally take those little mini frittatas out of the freezer, pop it in the microwave for just a second, and you have a good source of protein. Okay. You can do muffins. Yes, you can do muffins on the Slenderize program. And if I have not sent it to you already, please let me know that you need the Slenderize recipe book. There's lots of different muffins and other recipes in there, and I will be happy to send that to you. You can also do pre-measured smoothies or the Pure Nourish protein shakes. I recommend doing that every single day as a meal replacement, whether it be breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Like you pick your meal. Normally, for me, it's the meal that either I'm going crazy and don't have time to cook, or maybe I had a larger lunch and I need to have a lighter dinner. I will make it that way. And a lot of times with my job, I'm traveling. to out of city locations. And so that is my supper on the go. But that Pure Nourish protein shake, that is going to give you the protein you need. It's going to give you probiotics and prebiotics. And you can actually add the approved fruit to that. Okay, so go back to your food list, your Slenderized food list, where it's got your apples and berries on there. And I like to put the frozen berries in there. You can even add spinach to it because, of course, you're trying to get in your vegetables too. And yes, you can put spinach in your protein shakes and you will not taste it, I promise you. But go ahead and put all that in there, drop it in a blender, mix it, and go. You can do this ahead of time, and it works out really good. Lunch, different things. Like you can have leftovers from the night before, totally fine. You can do like a zucchini lasagna. That's going to take you about 4 minutes, just cutting up your lasagna into like layers, or even you can spiralize it and make it look like a spaghetti. Add some approved spaghetti sauce to it. Make sure that you are checking the sugar content in that. You really want that spaghetti sauce not to have any added sugar in it whatsoever, and you want it to have about 4 grams of sugar or less per serving. Okay. You can also do mason jar salads, and they find that when you put either your vegetables or your fruits in a mason jar and seal it up, that actually preserves your vegetables and your fruits for a lot much longer than just putting them in a bowl in the refrigerator. Okay. But you can use a glass mason jar, and you can actually put your dressing either at the bottom of the jar, or you can put it at the very top of the jar, okay? And not have it actually touching your vegetables. And so if you're worried about it wilting or anything, that's one of the things you can do. But you layer the sturdier produce like the cucumbers and the peppers. Do those first, and then have your leafy greens or your grains like your quinoa, put those on top. You can put a paper towel at the very top of it, and that's going to help to absorb the moisture so it's not going to get wilted or anything. And now you have a salad that will actually last you for multiple days. So you could do like 7 salads a day, I'm sorry, 7 salads a week. You can do that. And so for each day of the week, you've got something ready to go to work with. Okay. Put it in your little lunch bag, put a little cooler in there, and you're ready to go. Okay. Make sure, again, that you are getting enough water. So you need to get half of your body weight in ounces of water daily. All right. What about dinner? Start small. Okay. So don't go into your kitchen and try to prep for an entire month if you are new to prepping. It's going to be overwhelming. You're not going to know if you're coming or going, and you're going to be exhausted. Okay. So start small. Find little things that you can do. Like, can you double up on your recipe? And one of your recipes you're going to have tonight, and the other one you're going to freeze. That means that the next time you need a meatloaf and you don't have time to fix one, guess what? All you have to do is go to your freezer and grab one out. Okay. If you are freezing, cook the foods that have lower water content, meaning I don't recommend freezing anything that has zucchini in it, okay, because it's got a high water content on there. Use your slow cooker. It's going to save you a lot of time. A lot of times I'll put my meals into a bag. I will freeze the whole bag. And then when I don't have time to cook, I literally just dump the bag into the crock pot. I put it on low. I'm gone all day long. And when I get back, my maid has come in and fixed supper for me, and that's sweet of her. Take one meal and make another meal from it. Okay, so example, let's say tacos, all right? I do tacos all the time. Now my kids, they put it on taco shells. I put mine on lettuce, or I'll use the egg life wraps as my wrap, okay? So those are the things that I do. But maybe I've got a lot of tacos left over, and that next day it may become taco soup, okay? Or it may be another Mexican recipe that I can do and freeze later on, okay? So I'm taking one meal, I'm making another meal. Make meatballs and freeze those. That can become part of your approved spaghetti or meatballs, or just have meatballs and have 2 side vegetables later on, okay? That is a simple meal that you can definitely do. Don't forget to prep your snacks, okay? So a lot of times we want snacks. Do you have to have snacks on this program? No, but are you going to want them? There's good times that you're going to want them, absolutely. So some of our worst eating decisions actually come from not having healthy snacks available. And that's when we grab and we go for something that's sitting in front of us, whether we're in the break room, at work, and all of our coworkers are having a donut and we're like, hey, that's what I want too. That's not always a good thing, right? So there's some healthy snacks that you can actually make ahead of time. Maybe almonds. Love almonds. The almonds have a lot of calories in it. So that is one of those foods that you do want to measure ahead of time. So measure out the whole bag and put them in the 1/4 cup proportions. And that's why I have a lots of measuring cups in my house, because I can actually put a 1/4 cup measuring cup into my almonds bag, and I know that here is my portion size. Okay, so that's literally basically what's fitting into my hand, and then savor it. Okay, or you can put those in snack bags for grab and go options. That's going to be a lot cheaper than you buying the little individual almond packs at the grocery store. Apples are approved on your program. They are low glycemic. A lot of times, if you're cutting them ahead of time, though, they may turn brown and they're not as appetizing that way. So if you'll do either a whole apple, or you can slice them and squeeze a little bit of lemon juice on that, and that way they won't turn brown. PB2 is a powdered peanut butter, has no oil in it. And a lot of times I will make that and use that as like an apple dip. That's really good. Or sometimes I'll even just put the PB2 and some apples into a sandwich bag and I'll just shake it up. And so it kind of coats my apples with a little bit of a powder, and it's really yummy. Okay, so you can do that. Cut up your celery and your carrots for a crunchy snack, and you can have that with hummus. Okay, just check the ingredients on your hummus or make your own. There's like seed crackers that you can do. That would be a good protein and fiber snack for you. Um, Boiled eggs, any of those things like that, you can actually use for snacks. Don't be scared even to have chicken breast for a snack, okay? Like, it is protein. If you have extra chicken breast in your refrigerator, grab you some chicken. Sometimes that's what your body is actually craving, is just some good protein that you need. And then you have desserts too. So you can make your desserts ahead of time. I have found that if I freeze my desserts, it's out of sight, out of mind. And our foods, since they are whole foods, they don't have preservatives in it. And so my freezer is my preservator. But what I have found is that if I stick it in the freezer, I don't think about it. And so I literally had it was a chocolate peanut butter pie that I made for Thanksgiving. I guess it was last year. And we had a very small portion of it, okay? And I think it was like March the next year that I brought it out, and my husband said, "Oh, I really like this. You should make it more often. We've never had it before." And I said, "Yes, we have. This is leftover from Thanksgiving." He totally forgot about it too, okay? So out of sight, out of mind. But there's so many different great recipes that you can actually do. There's a lot of them that are listed in the Slenderized recipe book. So go ahead and make some of those. Now, I will tell you, I've had several people tell me that once they do any type of sweet, even if it's sweetened with the stevia or the monk fruit or the xylitol, anything like that, that sometimes will make you crave something else that is sweet. So if that is you, you might want to stay away from it completely. Okay. You got to know your body and how you are with that. But literally, failing to plan is going to be planning to fail. And I do not want you doing that. I want to make sure that you are making the best possible choices. And a lot of times that comes with meal prepping. So you can totally do this. You reach out to me if you have any questions. And until next week, guys, make good choices.